What's up, guys? Welcome to the Growth Minded Contractor Show. And I'm here in Dallas at a studio because we're at Win the Storm with my friend Mike Venidis, Chief Experience Officer at Ryno Strategic Solutions. And what's up, man? Glad you're here, bro.
How's it going, man? Speaking of storms, it's a gorgeous day outside.
Right? Yeah, you get here, it starts pouring rain.
It's coming down.
But so we're hanging out in Dallas. I just grabbed some studio time because I wanted to get a podcast with Mike and to talk about what he and the team at Ryno are doing. And, you know, we've gotten to know each other the last couple of years. You've been speaking a ton at different events and just really crushing it. And you're doing great with Jeff and Anna and Chris over there. And I've noticed in the last few years you're moving into roofing, but you guys have set you made your name in HVAC primarily and in home services. And so now retail, like residential roofing is kind of being pulled into that. We've spent most of our time, the beginning of our journey at STG in roofing, but now we're expanding kind of into other trades. And so I like our relationship because we can learn a lot from each other. And just forewarning, I am sick a little bit, so I'm going to cough and stuff, and hopefully that gets all edited out. Yeah, Mike, tell everybody where you're from, where do you live, and how long you've been at Ryno, a little bit about what you guys do.
I'd love to do that, man. Yeah, I'm Mike Venidis. I was originally born in Bergen County, New Jersey. Moved to Phoenix, Arizona when I was 6, and never looked back, man. I love that city. I just don't see myself ever moving away, you know, and spent the last 13 years with Ryno Strategic Solutions. It's been a journey. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, it was like, I always joke around. I tell people I didn't pick, you know, the home services. It picked me. I didn't even pick digital marketing, man. Like that picked me. I mean, I got hurt real bad and I needed a job and I had a friend of a friend. So, you know, that's when I met Anna on a, like we had like a birthday party cruise trip.
Oh yeah.
Like, so I met her on that trip and, you know, we stayed connected on social and she saw a post and here we are. You know, I started listening to phone calls and just grew with the company over the years, man. I got to actually do the work, build the strategies, learn SEO, PPC. And when you do it that long and you're immersed in the actual work that helps the contractor grow, here we are. You know, you figure out how to actually teach it to people because you want to see them win.
Yeah, so you started listening to calls that CSRs are taking on leads they're generating for the contractor to make sure that they're actually saying the right stuff to get a good ROI from what they're spending with you guys. And then you just continue to build up and grow. Now you're this chief experience officer and half your job is promoting and educating the industry. And then you also oversee all the client experience today with all those Rynos that are working every day for those. You guys have 1,000+ clients that you work with every single month.
Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you are loving this episode. Hey, if you're a contractor looking to scale and grow your business through sales leadership training and sales coaching and training for your team, then look no further. All you got to do is text us at 945-800-4220. 945-800-4220, okay? Or just go to our website, sellonstg.com. Again, if you're a contractor and you want to grow your sales leadership training skills, your sales coaching skills, and you want to grow and help your sales reps get better, we can help commercial companies, we help residential companies, no matter what trade you're in, you just want to transform your business, okay? Come to STG. We hope to see you there. Hey, now back to the episode.
Yeah. You know, we actually just recently changed the title too, I should say, to President of Client Services.
Oh, cool.
Because I do have a CSR coaching team now at Ryno too that rolls up to me in addition to all of our account managers, our client success managers. But yeah, I mean, 1,100 contractors, man, you learn a thing or two. Like, I think that's one of my favorite things about being at an agency is you get to hang out with so many entrepreneurs like yourself, you know, and you learn a lot from them. And it feels meaningful and purposeful when you're doing something, you know, that results in helping other people accomplish their dreams. And it's even more fulfilling, like when their dreams are things that equate to like helping people too, right? Like we got to take care of these employees. You got to sign those paychecks, put food on the table. You're not just building companies, right? Like you're servicing homes and people that are in situations where they really need support and help. So it's been amazing, man. Like it's a blessing to be in the position that I'm in.
Yeah, that's amazing. And your wife works with you too, so you guys, she handles another part of the business.
That's right, man. A lot of people don't know that. Man.
Yeah, that's
I always joke like the Rynos come in and they do an orientation, and I always tell them, I'm like, I didn't meet her at work, okay? I knew her beforehand.
That's awesome. And there's a book called Rhinoceros Success that you make everybody read, right?
Yeah, we were doing that for a while. We don't do that so much.
That book's epic.
It is. It's a good book. You know what book I absolutely love, man, is it's like a fable, but it's called Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Huh.
I can't even remember who the author is, but it was just a book that was, it's one of those books that you just read it and you go, man, like, really everyone that is going into a company should read this, like, as they start.
Huh. That's good. I'm going to make note of that. Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Back to the Rhinoceros Success book. I remember that book being shared with me when I was in my early 20s. And it was a guy, when he wrote the book, he was like 20 years old when he wrote it. He was really young. But he had this like mindset of just be a Ryno. Just be a Ryno. Just be a Ryno. Just like tackle it, go right through the wall. Just attack life, attack life, attack life. And I remember Chris, the founder, whatever he does today, I don't even know. But like, Chris, you don't have a job, dude. You're completely useless these days. No, but I remember him bringing it up in some form or fashion on a social media post, and I was like, I wonder if that has anything to do with the name. But anyway, that's another conversation. So you worked with thousands of contractors. Earlier in our conversation, you mentioned something to me. You were like, we don't like to be a contractor's first marketing agency. Yeah. I think that's actually really fascinating, because a lot of these guys who are starting to, and girls that want to get into digital marketing and have an agency model or partner, there's very few that stick that and nail it the first time and pick the right partner. Right. I like to get back to why you say that, but I would want to lead with this question of what are some of the top mistakes that you see contractors making? And I want to get like bare basic blocking and tackling and then get more advanced, because I have to think that there's some major mistakes that people make that get them way off course, set them, a couple years behind schedule or what they could be doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple of things I'll say to that, right? Is like, what is marketing, right? Like, we spend money to make money. And I think one of the common mistakes that I see is that we're very quick to go all in, Like, I've always been an advocate for the contractor, not for ourselves. Like, when you're ready, you'll come work with an agency. Yeah, I think my purpose and my calling is to really like set those contractors up well so that when the time is right, like, we are the agency that they choose. So a lot of the times, like, that first contractor, like, this is a first digital marketing agency, I'd much rather help them like through, free social media content. Like, I've got channels that I put up everywhere and I give it all away for free. And I'm like, you go do this, go learn this, understand. Because the only real reason I don't want to be their first marketing agency is because sometimes like their expectations are so unrealistic. And the last thing I need is a 1-star review, because like they don't really understand how some of these things work, And it's not always so simple. But what I typically tell people when it comes to mistakes is, don't be so quick to jump into paid advertising. There's so many organic forms of digital marketing you can use for free. I mean, I was literally just doing a phone call with Home Pros. They got like a fantastic email blast. If anyone hasn't heard of it, like, it's free, go subscribe to it. Okay. And we were talking about how Google has started to rank Instagram posts and social media platforms
on search, right?
Yeah. So I'm sitting here going, hold on. So you're telling me I can go to all these different social media platforms, I can do content just like we're doing right now, turn around and be strategic about what I say and what I teach, and it's going to show up on Google for free? Keyword free? Like, there's so many ways that you can get into marketing and do free forms, to really start to generate that hamster.
So mistake number one would be people jumping into paid before figuring out and leveraging free.
Totally, man. Yeah. Like, the thing about paid, like, that a lot of people don't understand in the digital world is essentially, Google has, we'll just round up and call it 90% of the market share. And when you look at the way that Google works, theoretically, like, every single thing that appears on the page can fall into one of 3 buckets, right? You have what we call SEO, which is anything that is free, and I'm going to include Google Maps in that. You have pay-per-click, which we all cringe because it's so expensive. And then we have LSA, local service ads. And really out of those three, the only one that is like something where we can move the needle, fast is pay-per-click. And you have to understand, guys, like in home services, the majority of the time you're dealing with a reactive buyer's market. Like we're screaming, we need leads because the board is empty next week, in a shoulder season for HVAC, for example. So when you have that situation and you're like, I need leads, PPC is like that channel that usually gets abused. So it's a hard game to play in that sense, So like I say to avoid it, and I say it, because it's so expensive, and if you don't play it right, it can hurt you really badly. But like you really do need to understand it, because it is something where if you're not going to build your business correctly and you're going to abuse digital marketing and like lean upon it to feed you versus doing the hard work and growing naturally through memberships and word of mouth, referrals, all the things, it's a dangerous game to play. Like, I'll give you another mistake. People all the time will spend all this money on paid advertising. And then when I go and I look at a paid advertising campaign, there is no value proposition.
Okay.
How does that make sense? Like, what are you advertising? Your business? How is your business different? Like, what kind of deal? Think about it. Like, when you go through Google and you're scrolling through Google and you stop and you look at a PPC ad, what makes you stop? Listen to your your psyche. It's either same day service, a really like a no service fee, something. There's a hook. And the value prop is usually time, convenience, money. But like a lot of contractors don't actually put the work into the value proposition that causes the consumer to actually convert. We just spend a lot of money on paid advertising channels, but we don't do the actual things that cause paid advertising channels to work the way that they're designed.
So you'll encounter somebody running paid ads, but then you'll inspect like their performance, and you'll go on their landing pages.
Totally.
And then, or their messaging on the ad itself.
Totally.
And there's nothing that's going to get somebody to jump from like brand new, cold, I'm sort of interested to conversion.
This is exactly it, man. If I see an ad that says, same day service guarantee, I click on that ad and I don't see anything above the fold before I scroll within 3 seconds that indicates a same day service guarantee, I failed instantly. The other issue that they do, right, is they run one landing page. It's the same landing page for 10 different ads.
Okay.
Like every ad, if it's unique and there's a unique value proposition, should go ahead and it should lean into a very unique page that is all about that ad.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So they won't have multiple landing pages dedicated to those ads, or they won't be testing different ones. So do you guys get into the optimization of what they're saying with the value prop, and then providing different landing pages for different ads and things like that?
Yep.
Got it.
Well, you got to do the geo work too. We could talk about mistakes that I see all day long. We could spend this whole episode on it, but I think the other piece is paid advertising. It's a weapon. It really is. Like if you use it strategically, like it's expensive for a reason. Everybody does it because they want to fill the job boards because it's a reactive buyer's market, but do the homework. So if you have like a print, partner that can pull some census data and look at the average value of the homes, the average salaries, look at the age of the homes, right? Like throughout different areas of the country, the age of, a roof or an HVAC system varies depending on wear and tear and weather conditions and things of that nature, right? So like, why can't you do that data? Why can't you pull the average age, the value, generate that ideal avatar, and use things like LSA or PPC to pinpoint specific areas that are ideal? And the beautiful thing too about these print companies is they don't just look, at a zip code. They look at a mailing code. And the reason that's a big deal is because how many times do you run into like a geo area that might have a zip code, but half of that zip code is instances where you
is that like the zip code with the code afterward?
Yes,
like that extra digit.
So it's actually a completely separate code, and I don't remember how they segregated. I've the best postcards is a buddy of mine, and I'll usually leverage him to help me run this type of assessment to be strategic. Whenever people are looking for strategies, and really what I try to do is, because PPC is so expensive, you have to get like into the, the weeds to try and find ways to bring the cost down. And in instances where I've got like a road and I've got hardship on one side of the street, trailer parks, things that maybe are not like your ideal prospect, and then I've got these nicer homes on the other side of the road. I mean, these are very unique areas where you can actually bleed cash because it's part of the same zip, and half of it isn't really work you want to do.
Wow. That's cool. So those are some mistakes. There's a lot of ways to try to market, and then there's this major difference between lead generation and branding and growing your brand. So can you guys, how do you guys go about educating and teaching the difference? I think branding is super important, but what matters is getting appointments and leads, right? So talk a little bit about what you guys focus on over at Ryno, and where contractors, where you kind of say, hey, that's where you should go that direction, and then this is where we're going to focus on for lead generation or something like that.
I usually tell people, like, your brand is your character, your marketing is like your voice, right? And our good friends in Prolific, like it's we have a great partnership with them, and Ryan Kettering, and now Chris is an owner in that as well. Like, getting your brand right is essential, right? Because your character is really like, how do you make me feel? How you make me feel is really like what makes me want to work with you. And your brand, your story, it has the ability to have that lasting impact, right? So over at Ryno, we focus more on the voice. We leave the branding to the experts at Prolific. And like, if we have that luxury, a great brand makes our job that much easier, right? Because the more I can get a memorable brand out in reality, the more it's naturally going to perform and reflect in digital. People sometimes don't realize, or they don't think to remember that like a lot of what exists in the digital world is fed by people in the real world. Mm-hmm. So if your brand, scales, and you can really have like a good footprint here, in locally, it naturally is going to improve digitally over time, just because people feed the internet and people are very familiar with you.
Yeah.
So, I usually tell people, like, a brand is always a level up, but like in our world, it's lead generation that we focus on. And our tactics have always been really, predominantly focused on new customers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of that is because in our world, like, how many transactions happen on average, in this type of industry. So I just believe like it always made sense for us to tactically go after net new opportunities versus retargeting and trying to get a second transaction. Mm-hmm. Plus, I think, if you're a great business and I'm a great partner, I should be able to trust your operation, right, to convert into memberships, make these clients that we bring you sticky, and you go get the second and third transaction. Like, don't you want to spend your marketing dollars on a net new opportunity? Because I'm all about word of mouth and compounding digital efforts. Mm-hmm. Like, I always tell people, man, I'd rather get one person and figure out how to get that person to tell 5 people rather than sell that one person. Like, I'm more focused on the exposure and them getting the name out there than just trying to transact one time.
So I want to talk about net new, and then I want to talk about client experience and that referral and the expansion, second, third transaction. Which one do you want to talk about first?
It's your show, my man. Whatever you want.
All right, let's talk about the lead gen. How do you know if a contractor is, if their marketing dollars are being spent effectively?
Well, there's a couple of ways that you can do that. One of the things that I'll always look at is a paid advertising campaign and how it's broken out. Because if you build an ads campaign and you don't structure it the right way, it gets difficult from the marketer's lens to really have a good assessment of where the dollars went. And the best example I could give you, right, is like, how many times do I go into a Google Ads account and they don't break apart the brand campaign from a net new campaign? If you don't break them apart, how do I really control how much is being spent targeting my company name versus targeting a random keyword where they don't know who they're going to use? Okay. That's like one thing. The other thing, right, is like your field management software. Like, how are you organizing and setting that up to parse it into areas so that you've got a pulse on where it's all going? So like, a lot of the times when I'm focused on new lead gen, I'm just trying to make sure that I structure things a certain way. And I also am considering, like, if I'm going to do a 5% marketing budget or a 10% or whatever it is, you know, how much of that do we want to spend protecting the brand name and maintaining, you know, multiple transactions versus over here where I want to play offense and get aggressive and go out and get new ones.
Okay. So the structuring first and the campaigns is number one.
For sure.
And then the tracking when they're restructured. So tell me about the field management software. You mentioned that, like, what are most people on with you guys, and then where does it help track those dollars?
So the majority of the people we work with are obviously on Service Titan.
Okay.
You know, and it's a great product. I think where you start to run into some complexity is that different operations might use it differently. And an example might be CSR teams will go in there and they will change the attribution for whatever that reason might be. And, you know, things start to get muddy. So when you look at a field management software operationally, which is usually like the lifeblood, like if I own the company, that's usually my source of truth.
Okay.
But like if you come over into my world where we have a tool called Ryno Tracks 2.0, like we stamp the attribution so that if the CSR rep changes it after the fact, it doesn't muddy up our data.
Okay.
So these are just a few examples of instances where, like, if you're not really in sync with your marketing company and you understand how they track versus how you track and the differences, like, you really do need to have that lined out and be aligned, because if you're not, this is how dollars start ending up getting funneled into places. And then all of a sudden, like, your data is like, well, hold on, I spent this much on brand. Like, how come I don't see that over here? How come this is going on? And then the trust starts to get diminished. And I think like of all the churn that we experience, the most common churn we get is what I call perceived indifference, which is in an instance where I look at a report and go, dude, we're crushing it. But for some reason, the contractor is livid and they go, you're not crushing it. You know, you suck. I'm going, how do you think that? Like, this report is beautiful. And what we find is that their field management software is somehow not set up in a way that reflects what we see. And because the trust is already diminished, it's really hard to come back from that.
So you guys make sure everybody's using your tracking and that becomes their source of truth?
We do our best. I mean, sometimes it gets difficult because contractors go, well, why would I pay for this reporting? Like, I have Service Titan. I don't want to pay an additional fee, you know, but we do have a cost, like, to run a reporting system as exclusive as ours. Like, a lot of agencies, you can go do work with them and they use things like Google Analytics, website impressions, you know, clicks. But I really do want to focus on conversions here. And I don't want to just know that I got a call. I want to know that I got a quality call. I want to know if that call booked or not. I want to know what the average, ticket is of these calls. You know, I want to be able to assess that data. You know, a lot of agencies don't have that level of information because they're not recording every call internally. Like, they're really focused on Service Titan.
See. And so going into like tracking, what are some of the KPIs that you guys think are the most important for digital marketing, advertising spend that helps them scale digital?
Well, the first thing I do is I look at their cost per lead because I want to make sure that they're getting a lead for a good rate so that it's not tapping into margins, right? Like, if you don't have an industry where you're seeing multiple transactions, it's important that the margin is healthy in the first job, right? But it's not always just about the quality of the lead and what you're paying for. It's about the quantity. So how many leads am I getting? That's the next factor, right? So, like, I'm paying attention to the total number of leads, the cost per lead, and then we've obviously started placing an emphasis on the booking rate. The booking rate's essential too, because we live in a world right now where people like to point the finger at the agency points the finger at the operations and go, I've got you all these at-bats, and just because you didn't book them, I'm getting yelled at? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, why am I taking the hit here? Like, you're failing. Like, you got to get this problem fixed. That's why I started a CSR coaching department. You know, Chris Anna and I were very passionate about trying to build something where we didn't just hand you leads and walk away. Like, we wanted to be a true partner. You know, so I think that the booking rate is another essential piece of that. And we actually started tracking our booking rates differently than field management softwares. And the reason I say that, right, is in a reactive buyer's market, if the inbound call comes in and you don't book it right then and there, what do? I go to the next person on Google, right? And I lose the lead. So our booking rates actually are coming from the perspective of a brand new customer on the first touch. Whereas these field management softwares will usually look at multi-touch. You know, they'll see the journey all the way through. Like if I have to call you back, then you call, and then I close, okay, that's great. But I like having the booking rate from the first touch, first call standpoint, because what it tells me is, do you have a kink in your operational procedure? Like if your booking rate is really low on the first inbound call, it tells me you had to call back, you couldn't book. Like these are all flaws in the system, which allows the operator to come in and say, well, what can I change in my process and my flow to try and optimize the business so that I get the first touch in right? Like I want to book at 90% first call. It's not as easy as it sounds when you really start to get into the weeds and listen to the calls.
Got it. So cost per lead is going to vary per part of the country, right?
Totally.
So what do you see as little as what, as high as what per dollar?
You know, I mean,
And then there's time of year too.
you have to ask yourself a couple things, right? It's not just the part of the country, it's the trade. Like if I'm getting an $18,000 roof, what I'm willing to pay to get that lead varies for, you know, a $10,000 air conditioning system. Obviously, the lower the better. I mean, there were years where we'd see something like for $50, which is great. Like a $50 net new cost per lead is amazing. Yeah. But it also depends, right? Like, is that a blended cost per lead? Is that considering pay-per-click, SEO, LSA, everything combined? Or is that just SEO or just PPC? Because I got a guy in Boulder, Colorado that would generate new leads, SEO only, for like $15. That's like a dream.
But why would you pay for SEO if it's free, right?
Well, you got to remember, like you're paying an agency.
So you do the service. Okay.
So as I said earlier, is if you were
the leads divided by the SEO.
Right. Hypothetically, like, right, let's just make it up and say you pay me $5K a month. So I'm just dividing the total number of leads by my
so
plan.
15, yeah, and that was a Boulder guy. Cool.
Yeah, which is a fantastic cost per lead.
Yeah, it's insane.
But that's like, you know, that guy hit the pinnacle. Like when people say, hey, Mike, how would you define the ultimate goal of a digital marketing company? My response to them would be, well, assuming you have the marketing budget, we would use paid advertising channels to keep your job board full long enough until the organic SEO thrives and glows to the extent to which it can it can survive on its own, generating leads consistently.
Yeah.
And then I would start to scale back on paid, and I would only use it tactically on the specific things that I want to accomplish at the different times of the years that I want to accomplish it. Cool. This guy in Boulder, he accomplished that. Like we used paid for many years, and we eventually got to a point after we built enough content, you know, blogs, service pages, did everything the right way. And then next thing you know, he reduces his PPC spend. The jobs are still consistent. Like he's able to feed the techs, and you just kind of dial back. And then if there's an instance where they want to be tactical for whatever reason, we do some one-off strategies.
Wow. That's cool. So love that. And then I'm sure it gets pretty expensive at certain times of year in certain markets.
Well, totally. You know, like that topic right there is it's a controversial one because like PPC especially is where you'll see it. Like the common thing that happens is you'll see that the cost of paid advertising at least in HVAC, it comes down in the summer, right? Because if demand is up naturally because it's hot and people are running their systems and they break, there's enough leads out there that people will spend less on pay-per-click because they can't keep up with the amount of work that's there. So they either pause it, scale it back. But then you've got other companies that know this. Like they're coming into the summer and they know that it's going to be a better investment. It's going to get cheaper. So they staff, you know, and they're preparing in the shoulder season to be as aggressive as they can be in the summer. And they've got their systems dialed in and ready to go. And then they double down on pay-per-click because they know that they're going to get a better ROI on it when the cost comes down. There's less competition driving it up. So you have to look for the trends that are happening like throughout the market to really have like a pulse on how to capitalize on the different times of the year because the cost does go up and down.
Wow. Amazing. Curious about like when you guys see clients not do well with you, everything's always going to go back to the owner. Like they're the ones that should take responsibility for something not working. I mean, of course, you guys have your part, but I'm talking about like on their part. Do you find that I think your average customer does, let's just say 10 million. You have some that are private equity groups doing 9 figures, and then you have some a little lower than that. But when is it like the best partnership with the owner working with you guys, the owner learning about marketing, or do you find that they're often quick to delegate that, and then they're working with somebody who is directly managing the agency partnership? Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the point of the question, is what's going to best set up the client to succeed from a personnel standpoint on their side with like a marketing relationship?
Yeah, I mean, it's do your homework when we give it to you, to put it simple. Like, I don't really worry so much if I'm dealing with the actual owner, a marketing manager, a leader from within. I mean, sometimes I even prefer the marketing manager because they understand the importance and the severity of the things that we're asking to be done. So the fact that they take it seriously is essential. Marketing agencies, we can generate content all day long. Like, there's a lot of things that we can do, but so is the rest of the competition. Like, if I have 5 different contractors that are all generating content, you have to assess the actual content. And then you have to find that owner or that marketing manager that's going above and beyond to give you things like custom photography so that we're not using stock imagery.
Sure.
They'll get a content person in there to do some video and, allow us to create a video on YouTube versus Vimeo because Google owns YouTube. Are we embedding videos into these service pages? Like, I'll literally pull up the AC repair page for all 5 of these contractors and compare them and say, well, this competitor, no wonder they're ranking better. Like, they've embedded the map on the page. They got a video on the page. Like, they're doing this, they're doing that. They're doing all these things. And the issue is that, like, some of these things that we need, we can't do them ourselves. So the owners that are willing to provide us the things or cooperate, like, I know that they are juggling a million things. They're running a business. But if you come back to me, whether it's a week or a month, and you're just doing the things I'm asking you to do, you'd be surprised how much better your campaigns would be thriving.
So owners who are willing to provide that content, or at least somebody on their team is putting in the work to complete all those.
Well, that and know your business too. Like, you'd be surprised how many times I will talk to an entrepreneur that can't give me the ideal range of what they're willing to spend for a lead.
Yeah.
So for instance, like, if your average ticket for an AC repair is sitting between $300 to $500, I might need to understand, well, is your profit margin 10%? Is it 20%? Like, where are we falling here? Because if I could actually work with you close enough to know when I'm willing to spend X on a lead versus Y on a lead, like, it's good for them to break apart every service item that they do as if it's like a food menu and tell me I'm willing to spend up to this amount for this type of prospect. I'll spend up to this amount and this amount. And to put that into a system that allows me to just naturally know when I can be more aggressive versus when I should not.
Yeah.
Like, what are your most profitable products? What are the products what are the services that you want to sell the most? Like, when you have an owner that sits down and goes through that with you, you can be way more dangerous, especially in paid advertising.
That's great. So Ryno tell us everything you do, and what do you not do?
Yeah.
From a marketing standpoint.
I mean, we do, if it's digital, we do it, We've always
build websites.
Yes, we build websites. I mean, we have 2 different types of sites. We have custom sites, and then we have sites that are designed to launch faster that have limitations within them, right? Just because we're trying to go live quicker. SEO has always been our bread and butter, paid advertising, including PPC, LSA. We do social media, email marketing. I mean, the things that make us unique are we have a one-of-a-kind reporting platform that we call Ryno Tracks 2.0. What's cool about that is there's actual AI built in, and what it does is it breaks every call apart. It's called Coach AI. And what's amazing is that it looks at the triad of your business. So it's scoring 1 to 5 on the quality of your employee, the sentiment of your prospect, and the impression of the organization, the service, the business as a whole. And it gives you the ability to parse out the data. And maybe I want to look at just the calls that came from PPC where the CSR was graded out of 1. Now I've got all of this stuff that I can export and hand you as a true partner to make operational improvements. So it's like one of these tools that we're really proud of. And then, of course, like a standout is CSR coaching. There's not many digital marketing companies that have a CSR coaching program. And the best part about it is that the program was built with buyer psychology in mind. There's no other coaching product like it where you have, what we've done is we've looked at buyer sentiment and using their psyche. And we've basically taught the CSR reps how to guess the color code of the consumer when they call. And it's a personality assessment. Like if we don't know what the color code
based on this,
yeah, similar. So like if the prospect calls in and I'm trying to guess if they're a red, yellow, a white, or a blue, what we found is that the actual hack is the CSR is listening deeply. They're actually listening, and it's almost like you hack their mentality and their booking rates go up. It's a really cool program. Like I haven't seen another CSR coaching program that has looked at how to connect the digital marketing world and buyer psyche towards the closing ability of a CSR rep.
it's cool.
And I'm probably, forgetting a product or two, but they're all listed on our website.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you won't do like TV and radio. That's other agencies can help with that.
We got partners with that, that we list on the website.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and tell us about some of your partners.
Oh, well, obviously the partner we're the most proud of is going to be Service Titan, right? Like I think we're a gold partner. Don't quote me. Proud of that one. We talked about Prolific earlier, in the
branding agency.
It's such a powerful thing to have.
Cool.
We have a couple of coaching groups in there too. I'm horrible at memorizing this stuff, man. We got a whole department for it, but it's also on our website.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. So I love that. So, yeah, man, this has been great. I'm trying to think if we missed anything from a digital marketing lead gen standpoint. I'm a big follow examples out there. Like, who are some brands that you're proud to have had an impression upon, the 1,100 or so you worked with, that you would say, man, if you're like newer or want to grow digital marketing as a contractor, go watch these people.
Yeah.
Who are some companies and like some various trades you work with that people should go follow?
I'll throw out two that come to mind. And some of them aren't even clients anymore. I think less about who's the flashy brand that everyone's heard about and more about the truly like custom, unique digital marketing tactic where we got creative, did some really cool stuff. And one of them, was a company called GVEC, Seguin, Texas. And what made them truly unique is like historically they're a utility cooperative. But what they did is they were starting to expand out and they were trying to toy with, solar, heating, air conditioning, electrician, and even internet, wireless internet, which was weird for me. Like, because this was an account I actually managed. These are some of like the tactical strategies that I was getting creative and having fun with. And we believed that because they had so many unique different products, having separate websites for each of them would be essential in Google's eyes. Because they're viewed upon as utility cooperative. So how do I truly get them to compete in the market, like with some of the unique services that they were expanding out on? So if you actually, and I think their website is still, like we put a lot of work into this custom site. What you'll notice is when you go to gvec.org, like the footer, it looks like it's all one site, but it's actually 5 separate websites built to look like one. So in the consumer's eyes, they're having this experience where they think it's all together, but in Google's eyes, it was legitimately built so that it would thrive in organic environments so that they were generating more leads. The second one I think of is my good friends over in Boulder, Colorado. When I talk about a $15 cost per lead, like that's a company called Save Home Heat. I grew close to the individual that we worked with on that that campaign for a while. And I think what really made them stand out is he was a content major, but he did the work for many years. Like he was a tech, he did the work. So where we had this luxury is like we would write this content, and as a team, we built a process and a system where the content would go through the tech. So he was able to actually like work on the content with us to get some truly unique, valuable content. And like what happened to him is he had generated such a powerful blog because he was so wise about the trade. Like he knew the trade better than us, but we knew digital marketing better than him. So we were able to almost, marry like our strengths together.
Wow.
And we were able to create content, especially blogs that became so resourceful for the community. Like he gets views all across the nation. And what people don't understand is that maybe somebody viewing my website from, Arizona when I'm a business in Colorado, sometimes we go, well, why would that bring me any value? But what people don't understand is that a lot of website traffic makes Google say this is a valuable website. So it causes it to rank higher for the local community that would do business with you, which is one of the tactics that allowed us to be able to get him a cost per lead that low. So it's a long way of saying the quality of the content is essential.
Love that.
You've got to spend the time on it.
Gosh, that's great. Some good stuff right there. If you could look into the future, you see the next few years, you have AI, you have, automation. What are some pieces of advice you would give contractors looking out into the future to future-proof their marketing strategy?
It's 100% AI. All of it's AI based. I would tell you guys this. Your reputation management has never been more important. Right now, we're in a race. We're in a race to see who is going to own the market share of large language models, which is a term we use for artificial intelligence. And right now, the clear leader is ChatGPT, right? But what's really happening is you're watching to see if Google can maintain that 90% market share. Because right now, what we see is regardless of AI and ChatGPT, people still start on Google. They start on Google, they use Google, and they're either shifting over to Gemini, which is Google's AI competition to ChatGPT, or they're jumping over to ChatGPT after they've used Google to figure out what they need to know so that they can talk to the bot. And the reason this is important to understand is right now, Ryan, like AI doesn't understand location. See, we're location based.
I'm like doing this ChatGPT search right as if that's what you do today for.
So what's interesting is like ChatGPT doesn't know my GPS the way like Google Maps does. So when I do searches, keyword searches for, roofing or AC repair, like a lot of ChatGPT's results are solely based upon your reputation, your reviews.
Okay.
So there's a number of things you could do. Like I think the easiest thing to do and say to your viewers is pay attention to which AI is going to win the game and understand that reputation management is such an essential part of being the choice going forward. And I would even say if ChatGPT is the clear winner, don't count out Thumbtack. Thumbtack is, I'm telling you, no matter how you feel about it now, watch it closely. You can go to OpenAI's website and see that they've got a exclusive partnership with Thumbtack. Pay attention to these partnerships and these strategies because if you see it, it's like a stock. You do your research. If they marry up, feed that game because that's the game that's going to get elevated.
Nice. So reputation management, would you say that Google reviews is still the place everyone should focus on, that platform?
So if Google maintains the market share, yes. What I would say is right now the game got harder. You're going to have to spread your reviews all over different platforms. Google's always going to matter until it dies, right? Should it ever die, right? But if you're looking at artificial intelligence, Thumbtack matters for chat.
Getting reviews on Thumbtack.
Correct. And that's just one. Like I did this assessment. I mean, I spent like a week doing all these experimental searches on ChatGPT. And what I did is I made an Excel document where I tracked how many times they took a directory and ranked it. So Home Advisor, Angie, I think it's called three best rated, the BBB, Thumbtack, Bird Eye. There's one more.
Thumbtack a home services only platform, or is it for everything in all categories?
They do a number of things. Like there's house cleaners that you see in there. Like
Thumbtack's primarily for.
I want to say that it's like I haven't done enough research to know if it's exclusive to the home service.
I was like wondering if I should be doing Thumbtack.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
know.
Here's what I'll tell you is you should. Well, like for sales coaching, no. I would.
Okay. Yeah, there's nothing on Thumbtack for that.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
Well, you got to think about how your consumer searches, like when I did this whole experiment, I was solely focused on, core trades based.
I mean, so it's like a homeowner thinking, I'm going to go to Thumbtack.
I think it's a homeowner thing.
Like, I'm just asking you, like, there's a homeowner thing. I'm going to go to Thumbtack. No, you're saying
No.
they go to ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT is going to put up the Thumbtack.
Yeah, so what they do is they use an agent. You know, this is getting a little deep here, but like to make it simple for your viewers, basically OpenAI owns ChatGPT. ChatGPT has different capabilities. An agent means that you can train this ChatGPT to do the same thing over and over and over routinely. You can teach it. To think of it as like being an intern. You're teaching an intern. Like a lot of people fail because they use ChatGPT to do the work rather than teach ChatGPT to do the work for them. That's going to be the differentiator in the next few years. So to the point, like Thumbtack, what ChatGPT and OpenAI did, like if you pay $200 a month and you get access to their beta platform, they have this tool called Operator. You can Google it on YouTube and watch the video. It's kind of mind-boggling. And what they do is they run this experiment where they basically teach ChatGPT to use Operator to purchase the groceries routinely every week at a certain time. The thing you have to understand is that Operator is built with like a Thumbtack integration. So if I use this tool, it by default uses Thumbtack to pick the options that it's going to suggest. So this is why, you know, I say there's some things you have to pay attention to.
Sweet. That's great. Awesome, man. So you are awesome, man. Super knowledgeable. Thanks for everything.
Appreciate it, man.
What would you say, this is the last question, what drives you personally in working with contractors and with home service companies?
How they make me feel. I mean, that's what you're asking, right? Like what drives a contractor what drives a consumer to pick a contractor and work with them? You know, for me, it was like, it's trust. It's what always comes back to you. You know, back in Phoenix, I had that year where, I'll give you two, because my roof needed to be done the same year that my heat pump went out and needed to be changed. Expensive year. For the roof, how many times do you buy a roof in your life? Consumers are uneducated. You're uneducated consumer. They don't know if they should pick a contractor or if they should call their insurance first. I almost think like the consumers in the roofing space need hand-holding. Like they want to be educated and informed on what to do. What's the process? How do I save the most money? By going to the insurance first or by going to picking a roofer? Or like, can I pick any one of them? They just don't know, they don't know, and they don't have any upside. So, you know, for me, it was like finding someone that I could trust, that I knew was, I felt like was going to assist me. That was how I had chose the roofing company that I used. You know, and then on the HVAC side, it was like, hey, who do you know, right? Because if I don't know somebody personally, I'm looking for someone that knows somebody. You know, and for me, like if I had met somebody that I felt really like good about and they had my best interest, it's all about feelings at the end of the day. So, you know, whether you're talking to a comfort advisor or a CSR rep when you call in, like your entire company needs to just understand that it's not about the sale, man. It's about the experience. It's about how you make me feel. Like if you actually genuinely were trying to like look out for me, comfort me, educate me, your odds of getting my loyalty are so much farther than just trying to get into my house and sell the freaking job. And that's at least that's how I work. You know, because I think a lot of us are skeptical. It's like a mechanic, you know, like it's not like money falls off the trees here. So if I'm worried about being taken advantage of, and air conditioning, roofing, like things that you don't do common like as often, everybody feels like someone's out to get them in this day and age. So like be genuine, be considerate, and help. And I think that's how people choose who they're going to do business with.
Sweet, man. Awesome. Well, thanks for your time.
Dude, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, man. This was fun. I enjoyed it.
Good job.